All right, you're on San Antonio's News Talk radio station 550 and 107.1 KTSA, and we welcome to the KTSA Quarter Moon Plumbing, AC, Heating Newsmaker line two guests for the next several minutes. One of our guests is the interim police chief for the San Antonio Police Department, stepping in after the retirement last week of William McManus. Jesse Salame is an over 26-year veteran of the SAPD, has served in a variety of functions, and most recently has been the number two, the deputy chief to Chief McManus. He is not only the interim chief, but has said in interviews he is interested in applying for the job permanently. So he joins us along with Dr. Willie Ng, formerly of the SAPD and United States Secret Service. His doctorate is in organizational leadership, and he was helpful in bringing the interim chief to us. And so, Chief Salame, welcome to the show. It's an honor to have you. It's great to have you. And Dr. Willie Ng, good to have you back.
Thank you, Jack.
Thank you, Jack. Good morning to both of you. It's an honor to be here.
We're very glad to have you. So, Chief, I understand that you are interested in the position which we're given to understand will be filled this fall. How do you balance keeping a steady hand on the tiller? You've said you want to carry forward most of the McManus policies, but at the same time, you have to meet the challenge of showing that you have something to offer over and above maybe outside candidates. So you're trying to keep things steady, but also prove yourself. How do you do that?
Yeah, I'll just say right now I am all in on the permanent process, and we'll be going through that here within the next month or so. But I see that as two separate responsibilities. In my role as the acting, I feel that my most important job is to lead the department through this transition with stability and the professionalism that our officers and our community deserve. And I think that permanent selection process, that belongs to the city, and I'm going to respect that process completely. I think that's the time where we start talking about new ideas, new initiatives, a vision that I have for the department. I think right now my focus is on 100% taking care of our people so they can take care of the community.
So what is something you differ with your predecessor on that comes to mind?
I don't have anything that I can point to specifically and where we're different. I think we both care deeply about this community, and we both want, public safety is a priority for me as well. I think the difference is, I guess the biggest difference is that, I came from this department. I started off, over 26 years ago, standing at the convention center with 2,000 other people, just with the hope that I could get an application and take a test to try to get in. And I think that's probably the biggest difference. But, Chief McManus had been here for over 20 plus years. So, he became an institution with the city as well.
Somebody was saying that you have a lot of officers who've never known any other chief but him.
Yeah, no, I think I've said that too. I mean, half of the officers on this department have less than 10 years on. We've got hundreds of officers starting every year. When I came on, I had Chief Olifas, and then maybe a couple years later, Chief Ortiz. And then when Chief McManus came here, he's been here for most of my career. But again, I'm going back a little ways, but most of our officers don't know any other different way. They've only seen one police chief, which is it's amazing and very, very unusual for a city this size. I mean, it just speaks to his ability and his level of commitment to the city.
Dr. Willie Ng, did you have a question?
Yeah, Chief, you mentioned something that kind of jogged a memory of when you said you were in a convention center of over 2,000. That was my experience when I came on in 93. We had to camp out at the East Side substation just to be the first 100 to turn an application in hopes to have an opportunity to become one of San Antonio's finest. It doesn't seem to be quite that way anymore, from my understanding. Recruitment is very difficult. When you and I came on in the 90s, it was very common for officers to stay 30 plus years in the department, and now we have them leaving 22 years, 24 years, really quickly. What are your what are your goals and plans for, number one, recruitment? And I understand it's a nationwide issue right now, but what are your plans for recruitment and retention? Because even though you are interim and you may be only interim for a few months, that's still something you have to face as you're trying to recruit and fill these open gaps.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and recruiting has been one of our highest priorities. I will say proudly that while other cities have struggled, we have really exceeded in that area. We've appointed more than 1,000 cadets since 2022. We're graduating about 70% of those. And, those aren't just numbers. I mean, that's the future of this department. And we've been really deliberate by investing in recruiting and providing the best training I think that there is anywhere in the country, and really trying to develop the next generation of officers. Retention is something that I'm really going to be focused on as well. And I think one of those ways to do that is to give people some opportunity for some real career development and career tracks. You know how that numbers game goes. Sometimes you really want to go to a certain unit and there's just not the availability and it doesn't work out for you. So I want to try to make it to where somebody can really go somewhere that they really desire and grow into that position and excel. Because when people are really happy, and they really feel fulfilled, I think that's the motivator. We can pay them a lot of money, we can give them a lot of benefits, but keeping them here is one thing, and making sure that they're successful, happy, and thriving. I think that's the way to do it. And so that's something that I'm really going to be focused on if and when the time comes that this becomes permanent.
Talking with Interim Chief Jesse Salame on KTSA. Chief, the city is in the red. We have progressive elected officials who want alternatives to policing and post-policing. Social media is rewiring young people's perceptions of policing, showing encounters with police officers. How do you feel about all of that? How do you meet all of that as a challenge?
Yeah, I mean, that is a challenge that we are all facing, not just in law enforcement, but I think all across the country and everything that we do. And so I think for us, it's just being really, again, deliberate about how we're leading, how we're taking care of our people. And I think, my top priority will always be our people. I think when our officers and our professional staff, when they have the support and the leadership that they need, they're focused, they can focus on serving the community and doing that in the most effective way. But yeah, social media is it's a phenomenon that it just keeps getting bigger and bigger, and I think we're all struggling to sort of keep up with what that looks like, what that means. I've had $1 for every interaction that we saw a piece of it and turned out to be look like a really negative thing without the full story. I mean, it'd be a different conversation. So I think just really being transparent, really being deliberate with the messaging that we're putting out, and showing our officers support, holding them accountable when they need to be held accountable, but also backing them up when the situation calls for it.
Let's get a question from Willie Ng. Did you have a question, Willie?
Yeah, Jack, I'm so glad you mentioned that. You and I have had several conversations of how politics interfere with public safety, and how some agencies are pressured by city officials and elected officials in the community to take immediate action, and ends up being a knee-jerk reaction, which is not the correct action. And, the study shows, and Chief, you and I will have a conversation a little bit later, the study I did for my dissertation shows that sometimes officers don't leave the agency or the occupation, they leave leadership. And there's so many variables to retention, and leadership is a very, very big one. And a lot of them in this study that I did were more concerned with getting indicted than getting shot in the line of duty. And that's not something that they should be facing when they're out there doing an important job and making split-second decisions to save someone's life or save their own. So I'm glad that you recognize that, Chief. And I know, again, you and I patrolled on the east side together many, many years ago. I've seen you in action, boots on the ground, and it didn't seem that you've forgotten what that job entails and what that job takes to do every single day and to get home back to your family.
No, I appreciate you saying that. And again, we were fortunate enough on the east side to have, really good leadership, sergeants and lieutenants that took care of us when we needed to be taken care of, but also held us accountable when we didn't live up to the expectations that they had for us. And so I agree. We've had officers, and I've seen it and I've heard it, that they became more concerned about their livelihood than they became about their life. And as leadership, we need to do a really good job making sure that they feel the support they need. Again, there's times where we've got to hold officers accountable. We've got to balance those expectations from what the community has. But I think that there's a way to do it that is fair and that is just. And ultimately, that's really what we all want. We want due process, and we want a system that we can believe in so that we can provide that public safety that the community has come to expect from us, our community specifically.
Chief, I don't know if this is true in San Antonio, but I know in a lot of big cities, when you look at the homicides, they are disproportionately concentrated on small numbers of blocks. Like most of the violence is in, concentrated areas or hotspots. Yet in many of these cities, there are no more police there than there are in other neighborhoods. In some cases, there's even less. And that's led people in those neighborhoods to believe that the police won't be there for them when they need them, and then they don't report other crimes, or they falsely report gun crime in order to accelerate response times. What would you suggest doing if that is the case in San Antonio, that there are crime hotspots? Should there be more and more visible policing in those places, or is that politically unwelcome, or what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so here's what I know, and here's what I've come to learn in my over 26 years of being with San Antonio Police and being a native of this city, is that I know those neighborhoods. I know the individual neighborhoods, and the difference between the two. You can have a major thoroughfare separating one neighborhood from another, but every crime plan, every initiative looks different for those particular areas. What I've realized is that the residents at community meetings and other places where we talk to them, they want more visibility. And so we want to assign people, but we want to be smart about how we're assigning people and doing it in a way that's going to have the maximum effort in dissuading people from committing violent crimes or committing the quality of life issues that are so prevalent across the city, the complaints that you probably hear the way we do. And so that, I think, just having that institutional knowledge is going to be very, very helpful, because I know what a lot of these neighborhoods need intimately just from being around for so long and working all over the city. And there's ways for us to do that and be effective and police and patrol in a way that the safety of the residents is the priority. And I've not had a resident yet come up and say, "Hey, we're tired of seeing you guys. Y'all go away." I mean, most people are happy to see us and they want to see more of us.
Chief Salame, we appreciate your time today. I know these are busy days for you, but also want to invite you, if you would like, we would love to have you back for a longer visit in the near future, maybe an in-studio, small studio audience, kind of town hall kind of setting. If you would be open-minded to that, we would love to have you.
Yeah, absolutely. I definitely, let's do that sometime, and appreciate your time today, Jack, and thank you, Willie.
Thank you, Chief. And
Yes.
Dr. Willie Ng, as always, appreciate your friendship, appreciate your bringing us together with the interim chief. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. All right, appreciate both of those gentlemen. Thank you for being on the show. We've got more Jack in 60 coming up on 550 KTSA.